Good morning and welcome. Welcome to Fight CPS with Bob Pace. Now, I know that the letters CPS means different things to various people. When I first got involved in CPS, I didn't know who they were or what they did. All I knew is that for my first 5 years of experience with them, that they'd call me up or come and visit me and said there were allegations made by, they didn't say who, that you're doing things to your children, you and your wife. What I didn't know was this particular entity was a rogue entity and they were corrupt. This is the major problem with the child protection system, is what I call CPS, the child protection system. And it's a government entity that was established in the early 60s by Congress, which told social services to create a government entity, a part of social services, to protect our children from neglect and abuse that's been going on for over 300 years. There's a long history of child abuse. And there's three parts. They divided it in, they call the first part from the 1600s in colonial day up to 1875 when they were settling Indian tribes, Native American Indian tribes on reservations. And then from 75 to 62 is where societies would help take care of our children. And it was really bad in the early 20s when they had sweatshops for young children to sew and do all kinds of things with terrible working conditions. So I'm glad that I'm here to help you. I too had a CPS case. It started in 2010. My case didn't open up until 2015, where they trafficked my children into foster care. That's right, you heard me. They're the only entity I know that can legally traffic children, meaning that they don't want to put children with family members. They don't encourage that. They take advantage of low-income people. Now, I was not low income when my life to the age of 60 in 2010, unfortunately, I had lost my job through no fault of my own. And I had a hefty mortgage payment to make because I had a beautiful home. And I had a large family. I had 6 children. One was still, three of them had moved out and done very successfully in their life. They got college degrees, they got jobs, and they created families. So I think my wife and I know what we're doing with children. We have a track record of 3 families doing well. They don't need us, they don't depend on us, and they're self sufficient and they got jobs helping out others. Now, I'm trying different formats every time I do my show, only because I want to make it look different. I want to make it look different. And this CPS is really a horror. I don't know how else to describe to you. They're in every state and every county, there is a CPS entity. Some are good, some are bad. Also worldwide. And when I mention worldwide, is I've talked to over 21 countries that have been a part of my live stream, along with all 50 U.S. states and the District of Columbia. And I really am horrified to see it gets worse and worse and worse. Over 1,000 people have contacted me here, visit the room, text me messages, or phone called in, or been a guest on my live stream here. Now, I work for the law offices of Vincent W. Davis, and he's the one that created this live stream. And Mr. Davis, who is a well-known, well-respected attorney who's trained in juvenile law, family law, and dependency law. Those are the three areas of law that you need to have an attorney schooled in. He also has been fighting CPS for 39 years and gotten back thousands of children back to their homes. And why I emphasize this thing about attorney is that you're with an agency that requires one. You cannot do this yourself pro se. You can try. I did. It didn't work. You can use the court-appointed attorneys that they give you because they hope you take them. These court-appointed attorneys are just new criminal law attorneys, nowhere near the background in dependency law, family law, juvenile law, nowhere the background. Plus, these court-appointed attorneys are public defenders, if you want to call them that. Don't fight for your case. They're strapped. They have over 30 clients themselves. They don't have time to talk to you, meet outside the courtroom or anything else. They show up for the hearings in court, and they do pretty much what CPS asks them to do, because anything outside would take time, and they don't have time. They don't have the expertise, and they work for CPS. We don't appoint these attorneys. We don't interview these attorneys. And a lot of us have to use it because we don't have the funds to retain an attorney. You see, fighting CPS is like doing open heart surgery. Open heart surgery is very complex, very time consuming. So is CPS. They're very time consuming. It's hard to navigate through them. They're not transparent. They do retaliation, and they lie. Their goal is to make trillions of dollars. Trillion, not million, not billion, but trillion. It's a money-making machine. That's because the funds are not watched or overlooked. The funds from the federal government, which the federal government right now is being investigated, is easily sent to the states. They'll send out $1 billion at a time. Then the states will send out millions to the counties. And the counties will have a claim. They get a claim number from the county. They call in, get a claim number. That opens up the financial pipeline of money to CPS. CPS is a pipeline of money. They generate trillions of dollars a year. Not from you, but from the federal government. And right now, the new administration headed by President Trump has created a government entity called DOGE, is the abbreviation. And it's headed up by the richest man in the world, Elon Musk. And they're investigating government waste and government spending, government employees that work at home and do nothing. There are a lot of that going on. Money that is given out to people that are dead. Money that is given out to people that don't need it. It's sad, but it really is. And I hope they're investigating social services, but I hope they investigate the child protection system, because it is corrupt in a lot of places. Not all. We do need a child protection system. Our children are still in danger today as they were 300 years ago. There's always been a problem with children used, even in the days of the old, as slaves. because a lot of the children come from low income. And there's nothing wrong with being low income, it's not a bad thing. In the United States, we have a lot of low income people, and it's really surprising we do. Because it seems like the United States is starting to become a third world country where there's only two classes of people, the rich and the poor. Middle class has become poor. And it's so hard because with prices rising up at $10 for a carton of 12 dozen large eggs, it's still in my store. Now, I live in one of the richest places in the world, but unfortunately, when I lost my job, I eventually had to sell my home because I did not have as much money to save endlessly. So I had to sell my home, but one of the biggest reasons I sold my home was to get quick cash to hire an attorney. And that's where I circle back. This is a very complex entity you're dealing with. Now, I've talked to over 1,000 people in 21 countries and 50 states. I've talked to Indonesia, Bangladesh, India. Now, those countries represent, they're not doing too well economically. Also, I've heard from the Middle East, from Libya, which has gone through a really lots of problems, and Saudi Arabia. Now, I'm surprised by hearing from Saudi Arabia, but Saudi Arabia may have class problems where the women are being suppressed or they don't allow them to be how women in other countries are. But I don't understand how Saudi Arabia really have a bad problem with CPS because everybody there is so wealthy. Moving on to Africa, I've heard from Liberia, and that's on the west coast of northern Africa. Then Sudan, who's on the east part of Africa near the Middle East, and then down to Rwanda near Lake Victoria. And Rwanda had a terrible time in '94 when 1 million people were wiped out from civil unrest. And it wasn't because of race or color or religion. It was because of class, is of people. In Africa, there are many different classes, and some classes look down on other classes. It was a sad, sad state of affairs. Over 500,000 women were raped, and it was terrible. Anyway, the country has regrouped and it's back to normal again, but they called in about CPS problems. And they're starting to have civil unrest again. So I don't know if it'll ever be a continued thing there. It seems Africa has a lot of problems. We go to Mozambique, which I know nothing about. Mozambique. It's a small country. It's on the east side, the lower part of South Africa. It's across from Madagascar, the island off Africa, below a really poor country. Somalia, where all the pirates are. Then there is South Africa. And I've talked to several provinces in South Africa. In fact, the South African mothers have called me on this show, live stream, at their own expense, country code 27. And they're very sweet people, but they're having problems too. Problems with their children and CPS, being rogue, being bad. The child protection system is corrupt, but it's the pockets. You don't know where they are. I wish there was consistency among all child protection systems. Same thing with social services. It's being investigated. It is so hard to get aid for food or Medi-Cal now. because of the influx of open borders where millions of people are allowed to swarm in. The people in the world that were from criminal gangs and from bad parts of the world were mixed with the good people. Now, I'm not against the idea of having people come into our country. We always have been immigrants. Even the North American Indians have been immigrants from Asia. They came over, they're the first immigrants. And in Canada, the Indians are called the First Nation people. In the US, they're called Native Americans. And then down south, they're called Mexicans, Incas, Mayans. Mexico is really a cosmopolitan of rich Spanish culture intermixed with the Indians that were settling there, the Incas, the Mayas, the Topet, all the different tribes there. So we have all these people. And the common thing I see among the over 1,000 people that have talked to me has been there are low income, maybe not well educated, but know nothing about this entity called Child Protection Services. Now, as I was talking about the people in Africa, we go up to Europe, to England, Scotland, and Wales, and Denmark and Sweden. Those 5 countries have texted me or even called me. I had English mom, country code 44, talk for an hour from her garage. She was so hurt by what CPS was doing to them. It's a worldwide problem. We go across the pond to North America, and I've talked to 4 provinces in Canada. And then in the United States, I've talked to all the 50 states, including the District of Columbia, which is not a state. They all had the same problem, that called it many people from the same state, not just one. Then south of the border to Mexico, it was a hard one. I had a father calling looking for his children. He was calling from Mexico City. Then we go down to South America, to Grenada. I had a person call in about their CPS case. They're just above Brazil on the East Coast. Then we go over to the South Pacific, and we go to New Zealand, and then the land down under Australia, those 2 states in Australia. The common thing that all these people had was that they were low income and they were being taken by a rogue CPS entity. Now, we're starting to have people come into the room, and I warmly welcome you again. I'm Bob Pace. I'm a loving father, a husband, and I've been fighting CPS for 15 years. I know what CPS is. I know what they've done. I've developed 5 rules that will help you stay away from CPS or not get involved with them. And I'll talk about those rules. Now, it is hard to deal with any. That's why I early talked about you need to get an attorney. And it's just like open heart surgery again. Open heart surgery is difficult. You're going to get a professional doctor who is well trained in school before they open up your chest and take your heart and work on it. Same thing goes for CPS. That's why I tell you, you need an attorney, a juvenile law, family law, dependency law attorney with a background of fighting CPS. I have one. It's Mr. Davis. And as I was saying, he's been fighting them and winning children back against CPS for 39 years. He once was a foster kid himself, so he knows all about foster care. He's also a trial attorney. He can do trials. And speaking of trials, I'm investigating why you're not allowed to have your case go through a trial by jury, by your peers. because it's sad. Because when I had my experience in court, there was a judge who was like a referee who was picked by us citizens to that office. But the problem is, my judge, who's a terrible judge, very corrupt, didn't have any background in juvenile law, family law, or dependency law. All he knew was about automobile claims and property damage. That's where his expertise was. So you're going to have to be careful because even the judges are corrupt. I'm not saying all judges are. I'm not saying all CPS is. I strongly have talked to at least 5 people in CPS on this live stream that are very professional and talked well what they were doing. So it's the pockets, the rogue pockets of bad CPS, whether in Ohio or Pennsylvania or Nova Scotia, Canada. I see it happening all the time. Where a mother who doesn't have a father for a child, he impregnated her and left. So she gets assistance in the housing. And this lady, was befriended by a small black child who took his gang members and raped her. When all she did, she was paying him money to help bring up groceries upstairs in her new housing tract. So she's taken down to the police station and put into a hotel where she's raped again. There's no protecting this lady. She was raped twice, and that was sad. That's sad. And that is how a lot of, I'm using examples that are horrifying. Like they do retaliation. Now, I know that firsthand. I had 3 children that were trafficking into foster care, were abused in the foster care system, moved from a shelter to a group home to a single home. And they were trying to alienate our children from us parents. They're breaking apart. Right now, CPS does not talk what the parents are doing to the children. And CPS does not talk to the parents what the children are doing. There's no communication. There's no getting together. I thought family reunification was where people came together and worked with professionals to work out their problems or differences. Families are not perfect, but they do need help. You're not born with a book about how to raise your family or born with a book of how to fight CPS or do your taxes or anything. These are life skills. And it seems lately life skills have been dropped in our education system. Life skills should be taught in every year of your education, whether you're in preschool, pre-K, kindergarten, grades 1 through 5, elementary school, or middle school grades 6 through 8, or high school grades 9 through 12, and then into college, your 4 years of college, your master program, your doctor program. Every year you're in school, you should be taking some form of a life skill that's suitable for the ages of that person. When you're real young, you need to learn not to talk to strangers. You need to learn, things like stoves are hot. And, you need to be educated in a lot of things. And you also need to know how to make your home childproof. Special locks on cabinets and doors. Special covers on electrical outlets. Special knobs on the doors so they can't open the door. You need to be able to supervise your children. Children got to learn about bullying. There's a lot of bullying that takes place in kindergarten, in elementary school. It's sad. As you grow older and you're in the middle school, you need to learn about sex. Sex comes on very early on. You need to know about drugs and smoking and alcohol and so forth. And when you get on to college, you need to know about dating, and marriage, divorce, CPS, the IRS, the taxes, how to do your tax. There's lots of things you can learn. Those are all through life skills. And we really need to have those life skills. Now, I know most of you may have a specific concern in CPS. And if you do, what I want you to do is to text me a question or a comment about your CPS case. Now, we're in here dealing with CPS. And I tried to stick and focus on CPS. And all I ask in return when you text me a question or a comment, that you show your first name, you identify the city or county you're from, or the case was at, and then you want to list your state. Furthermore, if you're from one of the other countries that I've mentioned, you want to list your country along with your provinces or states. Also, tell me about your CPS case. I'd like you to start from the beginning and then work you up to where you're at the moment. It can be a brief summary, but it's important to say certain things about your case. It's like, how was the children taken? What happened? What were the accusations? Where were the children placed? What were you offered? What kind of hearings you did? And where you at now? How can I help you where you at now? Do you have an attorney? A real attorney. I don't call the public defenders or court-appointed attorneys as real attorneys. It's sad, but in CPS world, they're not. Now, maybe in the criminal system, they're better. I have seen a court-appointed attorney in the criminal center, and they may be further trained or been experienced and so forth. But it's sad because the courtrooms are like cattle going off to slaughter. It's sad. Yes, we have one of the greatest in the world. I'm proud to be American. And I'm very, very happy to live here. But we have our faults and our problems. And one of them is CPS. So try to tell me as much as you can so that I may help you. Write your questions and comments of how I can help you. Now, as I said, I'm not an attorney. I have 42 years of marriage experiences. I've helped raise 6 children. 3 are older, living very well on their own. And 3 were the ones that they trafficked, that they stole, that they automatically say my kids were in danger. Being in school is not being in danger. That's where my kids were when they stole them. Now, I'm using the harsh terms, trafficking, stolen, alienation, but those are my experiences. Those are my feelings or what's happened to me. And I've seen a lot through my case and developed some good rules to help your case. Rules such as hiring an attorney or doing documentation or saying no to social workers and police, not opening your door, not answering your door. Careful when you go to emergency rooms and urgent care with the medical social workers that are working there that try to take your child from you. Even mothers that are going to deliver a baby will have a social worker walk in with a policeman as intimidation to take their child when they don't legally have the rights to. Now, I'm not saying that all parents are good. There are bad parents out there. But it's been proven that the best parents to raise their children are the biological parents. Now, through family reunification, there are programs, there are classes and programs of domestic violence, programs of alcohol, programs of drug or smoking or whatever that will help you assist you, parenting classes, support groups. It's very important that family reunification is done. Now, in 1994, President Bill Clinton signed a law, the Incentive Law, where they discouraged family reunification and supported adoption and foster care. They would get another $15,000 or $20,000 from the federal government to the local CPS, just in thanks if they get the child adopted through foster care. There's a lot of bad foster care out there. There's a lot of good ones. I have an excellent foster mother that's part of the family called Betty Jo from Montana, who's been fighting to get her niece, her brother's child, to be a guardianship of that child. Another way to interact with this podcast is to be a guest. I can take up 9 of you to be a guest on my podcast. 9 of you. All you have to do is email my show producer. Her name is Grace, and her email is grace@vincentwdavis.com. Grace@vincentwdavis.com. And she'll gladly help you get on my live stream on YouTube using the StreamYard application. And there you can be one of 9 guests, and we can all talk about your cases or help others with their cases. And we can also take in phone listeners. Now you write an email to Grace and you pick, I have 14 live streams a week. I'm on Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And on the weekends, I'm on at 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Then in the evening, Monday through Sunday, all 7 days, I'm on at 7 o'clock at night, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Now, with those 14 live streams, you can pick any of them to be on. She'll send you a link to StreamYard and give you special instructions, what to do and not to do while on the live stream. And there you can talk about your case more easier, and you can also help other people that are in the room. And then furthermore, by you being on there, you have a more chance of talking, because the other way to interact in this podcast is to call in. Now I have a number here. It's 626-698-0990. That's my phone number. I use Vonage as a StreamYard phone application. You don't need it to talk to me. So, I know it may be difficult to call in or be on a guest, but the benefit of calling in or being a guest is that you'll get a free 15-minute Zoom private consultation with Mr. Davis, a real attorney, a real fighter. And all you have to do is make a list of questions, hierarchy of them, and you can talk to them. And that's after you've been a guest on my live stream or you called in. So that's the benefit of being a guest or calling in, that you get a free 15-minute session with Vincent Davis, one of the top fighters against CPS. And he'll fight in any state. Now, those are the ways. I'll leave my phone number up, but there's another phone number that you see on the screen, 888-888-6582. That number is the law offices of Vincent W. Davis. When you do call in, tell the reception that Bob Pace sent you so they know who you are. And if you need more than a juvenile law, family law, dependency law attorney, there are other areas of law that he has attorneys for. Immigration law, the workplace law, injury law, property damage law, real estate law, marriage, divorce. It goes on and on. You have a lawyer for your case. So you can ask the office that you want to retain one. Also, if you want to talk to Vincent Davis, he'll gladly talk to you if you want to retain him. Now, I've told you some inexpensive ways to talk to him. One is for free. Another one is to get more time with them, such as 30 minutes. And for $60, you can speak to him for a private Zoom consultation. You go to a website, https://candly.com/appsvwd/Bob Pace. There you use your credit card, pay the $60 and book your 30 minutes, and there you go. Now, I did mention that number, 888-888-6582. Well, when you call into the office there, you can also speak to him. His hourly rate is $500 an hour. Right now, if your case is in LA, Los Angeles County, California, it's a retainer to start off the case of $5,000. Now, there are other packages that you could ask about. Also, Vincent Davis does some shows that he does live stream. He has one during the week office hours. And on Saturday morning, he does another live stream where you can ask him questions. There's a lot of sources that 888 number, books and information you can get from there. Make sure when you do call in, you say Bob Pace sent you. And then also, if you speak to Mr. Davis, tell him that Bob Pace sent you. Now, I'd like to change the ticket below, which is that 30 minutes for $60, to other things that can help you. Earlier, I had on the YouTube to join or subscribe to the YouTube channel, CPS Defense Strategy Consultant Vincent Davis. Please do so. At any time you're confused, don't hesitate to call the number 888-888-6582, and they'll walk through you anything you have questions about. But you want to subscribe to the YouTube channel because we are trying to get a newsletter started. And right now the subscription is $1.99. Putting on this live stream takes a lot of money and time and so forth. So we do need to ask for support, financial support. So by joining for $1.99, you get a lot of things. You get a newsletter, which will be articles written by me or Vincent Davis. Also, you get insight to my life into Vincent Davis' life and other people that are presenting their CPS case. Their CPS case. Now, I know I'm doing a lot of talking. We're now 40 minutes into the live stream. We have about 18 minutes left before I'll have to close the window here. I really find it a lot more interesting if you guys would interact. You can send emojis, smiley faces, thumbs up, hearts, or you can send in stars. That'd be great. So I hope you do subscribe because I want to keep this live stream going. Now, some other interesting websites I have on here. One is called the Stand Store. The Stand Store is a place where you'll see a list of financial opportunities to hire Mr. Davis, packages, some as cheap as $150. There's also books on there. And the newest book out is How to Fight CPS. Grandparents learn how to fight CPS and get guardianship of their grandchildren. You see, CPS forgets the family is more than just the mother and father. It's the sisters, the brothers, the aunts, the cousins, the uncles. It's the in-laws, the grandparents. That is what a family is, and any one of them should be qualified to take a child in to help them through this issue. Now, this sandstorm is easy accessible. It's on the ticket on the bottom of my screen. So please visit it. Now, another website I have is the website of vincentwdavis.com. It's a wealth of information about his law firm, about how he can help you with things. So please write that down, that website. So I have the Stand Store and Vincent's website. Also, you need to look him up on Facebook. He has a Facebook page. And I have a Facebook page, Fight CPS with Bob Pace. And there are other Facebook pages by other people, too. There's actually 7 Facebook pages. I think there's more. They're linked to this live stream in those 7 ones. The names are as follows. I think I have them here. Fight CPS with Bob Pace is one. Fight CPS Real Talk with Mrs. G is another. The reality series CPS The Horror Stories. Juvenile Dependency Child Protection. The Secret How to Fight CPS and Win. Relatives Fight CPS. So those are the ones there. Great, we got someone in the room. Finally. I've missed it. And we have someone named Livingstone, which is a husband-wife. They have a ministry. They've also hired Mr. Davis to help out their case. And they come into my live stream at twice a day, all the time. And welcome, both Livingstones. And what's the latest with your case? Your CPS case would help. Good morning, Jagged Edge Photography. I'm just going to call you Jagged since that may be your name. He said he was told to sue CPS by all parties involved with my case, but no one ended up taking the case, even attorneys who said they would. What recourse? Thank you. My feed is cutting out. Understand, Jagged. Um, to do a civil lawsuit, you need the right attorney. An easy way to talk to an attorney who will sue for you is to talk to my attorney, Mr. Davis. And I just got through telling people there's various ways you can talk to him. You can talk to him free if you're as a guest on my live stream, or you call in and you get 15 minutes free time with Mr. Davis, private Zoom consultation. If you want to spend a little bit of money for $60, you can talk to Mr. Davis for 30 minutes. And there are other packages too, at the Sandstorm and at the 888-888-6582 number. But there are people that will sue both in federal court and in state court. Mr. Davis does. He wins millions of dollars suing CPS. He's not afraid of CPS. The problem with CPS is that everybody's afraid to sue them because they're a juggernaut of money. Their budget's over $1 trillion a year, which is an astronomical number. That's more money than Trump and Elon Musk make. $1 trillion, that is a lot. And that's who you're working with. An agency that's so corrupt that takes your children, traffics your children, has the foster care system hurt your children. Now, I want you to know that it doesn't stop there, Jagged. You can take it to the Supreme Court, the federal government. You just have to do a lot of research. My rule number 4 talks about how to use the internet, how to arrange your words. You start off by a city, followed by a state. If the city's small, you need to put the first city and then a larger city, then the state. Example, Athens, Georgia. Athens is a college town, it's a small town. So Athens is close to Atlanta. So you may put in there Athens, Atlanta, Georgia. So after you put the state, or if you're in another country, put the country, you need to put the letters CPS. And you want to do a refined search by typing a specific word, like what is a 388 motion? What is the ICWA of 1978? What is a 160 hearing? What is a 150 hearing? There's so many specific questions. But when you type in that format, you get lots of information about CPS. And that is your key to success, is information. I didn't do that. I didn't do my rule number 1, get an attorney. Rule number 2, documentation. Or rule number 3, do not talk to social workers, let them in your home. I did none of that. I'm learning the hard way. But it's financially has ruined me because I had to quick sell my home to get the money to hire Vincent Davis. But he did get my 2 boys back. But then the social worker retaliated on my daughter. That is a nightmare and a half. You know, my daughter, who was 12 at the time, was going through emotions that a lot of teenagers do in high school, such as bullying. Bullying you think is at early on, but it continues all the way up. Let me see here. I think I'll put this other ticket up here. Now, what I like is more clarification where you're from, Jagged, so they can help you. Because you should be able to sue CPS. It will take money and time. And thank you, Livingston, for the hearts and the kind words, peaceful. What's the latest on your case at all? That'd be really nice. Rest of you, where are you? It's almost 10 minutes left of my show, and I've only had 2 people text in a message, and I've had a half a dozen of you in the room. But that's okay. Some days it's like this. Some days it's slow. I try to rearrange my information so it's not all repetitious. I try to cover a lot of areas, but it really greatly helps me if you're interactive with this live stream. That's either by, texting a message or calling in. Those are 2 ways you can do it very easily. Also, Jagged, I have no idea where you're from. Livingston is from Los Angeles, California, and he's hired Mr. Davis. Maybe Livingston can share what a good attorney is. Now, the way to get that attorney is you're going to have to search for it. Now, I got you one attorney. His name is Vincent W. Davis, with 39 years of fighting CPS and won. We have a call coming in. Good morning and welcome to my live stream. This is Bob Pace, fighting CPS. Hello.
Yeah, there. It's an interpreted call. Caller's using sign language.
Are you a CPS victim?
Yeah, I want to sue CPS because they took my kids and put them in foster care. And the judge, the lawyer dropped it, and then the mothers of the kids was taking care of them. And then later they told me that I saw the kids later, and it looks like they're abusing my kids. They've got bruises on their arms and around their necks. And I told the police, and the police are not doing anything about it. And I asked CPS, and they're not doing anything about it. So I'm serious. I want to sue them.
Okay, are you the Jagged Edge from Indiana? Where you're from? Are you the Jagged Edge from Montana?
No, I'm in Ohio.
Okay, you're in Ohio. So you're another person that wants that wants to sue CPS. As I was explaining to Jagged Edge in Montana, to sue CPS, you can do it in state court and in federal court. And I have an attorney. Now, by you calling in, you qualify for a free 15-minute talk with one of the best CPS attorneys in the country who has sued CPS and won millions of dollars. They've been doing this for a long time. So I will be able to help you out. What is your first name?
My name is Philip.
Philip. Okay, Philip. Philip is using Philip is using an interpreter to have the interpreter express his thoughts and feelings. So if Philip wants to talk to a real attorney, I can arrange that. Does he want to?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, it's for free. It will not cost you anything since you called in. That's one of the perks of calling in or being a guest on my live stream. You get a free 15-minute private consultation on Zoom with Mr. Davis, one of the leading CPS attorneys in the country. And to do so, all you would have to do is the number that you called in, the 626, the 698, the 0990, is that you would state your full name, your email, and your phone number. And then they can set that up.
The address?
Just the email. It's an email.
My email is...
Well, wait. No, I'm talking about texting me the information. I don't disclose it to everybody listening. I have a worldwide audience of over 1,000 people that have listened. And I have 21 countries. So there really is no privacy on this live stream. So privately, you'll text me a message to 626-698-0990. Your full name, your email, and your phone number. And then I'll set it up with my show producer, Grace, who will contact Mr. Davis and arrange the appointment with Philip and Mr. Davis for a private 15-minute consultation.
Okay, just one moment, please.
Sure.
Okay, so you want me to text you that information then? Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, we'll do.
Yeah. Okay, now are there further questions? I have about
No, thanks. Bye-bye.
Okay.
No, all good, thanks.
All right, well, thank Philip for me, and thank you for calling in. That was an interesting call. I never had a call from someone using an interpreter, and I'm not sure if he can't speak the English language or maybe he has no voice and he has to use somebody with sign language. But anyway, I'm here to help you all. And you heard it again, Jagged, from Montana. That's if you call in or you're a guest, Jagged, you can get that free 15 minutes with Mr. Davis. Now, it's 11 o'clock. That means my live stream is over, and I do have to close down. And I want to thank Jagged Edge from Montana and Livingstone from LA, California for texting in and talking about their case. I want to thank all my listeners for listening and know that you're cordially invited to come back to my evening show. I try to rearrange my topics. I try to have you do all the talking. So I try to make it interesting, but I do care. I've been doing this now for 17 months, since October of 2023, because I do care. I do want to help you. I do want to help you. So with that being said, God bless you all. Keep fighting for your children. Do not give up. And I'll see you at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time tonight. This is Bob Pace signing off.